Thank you so much, Preeti, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Can we start with how Google looks at its AI adoption in India across the three different verticals of cloud, compute, and infrastructure?
Yeah. So we are deeply invested in India. And for us, it starts with making sure that we are laying down the rails, as we call them. So infrastructure is very, very critical, that we're providing the right kind of infrastructure that helps, people to build on top of that. So making sure there is compute, making sure that the right kind of connectivity, all of that, those are the rails, and then making sure that we have the models that come in and building use cases. Now, when we talk about all of this, it's very important that for us, it's about the whole ecosystem. So, the first way we think about AI is how do we partner with the ecosystem, the government, enterprises, academia, to make sure that AI and its transformative power is being fully available and deployed. And that is in the areas of healthcare, agriculture, learning, and education, for example. So that's very, very critical for us that in that area we are looking at the infra, the models, and the use cases in partnership with the complete ecosystem. And then obviously we work with enterprises because again we leverage Vertex AI, and basically that is where people take our fundamental models and build on top of specific use cases unique to their businesses. And then we come to the consumers, where again our infrastructure is key to making sure the user experience is great, and we are evolving our products. So think about search as it was and how search has evolved into AI overviews or AI mode, where it's multimodal. So the user is able to search using text, voice, images. And so, making sure we are evolving our products to meet the users where they are in their own journey. Because now you see, people are more conversational. They will not just look for red shoes. It will be, I am going to this event and this is what the event is about, and I am thinking about this, and what do you suggest? Or I am planning a dinner with my friends and I want the ambience to be like this, and that's the first prompt. And then you get an answer in the AI mode or AI overviews, and then you go back and have a conversation. So we're thinking about how we evolve our products to meet the consumers and users where they are in wanting to be more multimodal. We are talking about making sure that we have the right infrastructure, and then working with the ecosystem and with enterprises as well.
Google has been in the news because of the massive investment it's made in the data center. Could you tell us, the reason for one investing in India? It's probably the largest facility outside the US. And what do you see will be the future outcome in terms of employment generation and in terms of how it will improve, India's AI stack for the world?
Yeah, it was a proud moment. See, we've been here in India for over 20 years. And one thing I can say is that we have been consistent in our partnership with India, standing with India, with the ecosystem. So, yes, last year we are very proud that it's our single largest investment, $15 billion in a massive AI hub in Vizag. And it's not just about building a gigawatt data center, which obviously is about giving the foundation for our amazing startups, founders, and enterprises, to make sure that they have access to that compute, that low latency. We think of that as building the rails. But it is also about building, the third sort of undersea cable network, more connectivity. And the third thing is that we also spoke about bringing new energy sources, what we call clean energy sources. And with that goes, when you're building at that scale, that gigawatt, scale data center, you are powering the economy of a non-metropolitan city, because think of construction and the opportunities that offers the employment opportunities. So it is, like I said, it's not an isolation for us. It is about how the entire ecosystem will benefit. So it is, we are here, consistent, standing with India, here for the long term, and very proud that we are partnering with India.
You have deep mind innovation happening out of India. Could you tell us a little bit more about the kind of projects which Google India's staffers are making for the world?
Yeah.
As well?
So, we set up a research team a few years ago. And, but this is what I say, partnering with India. And that team works in a larger global construct with other development center teams, with Google DeepMind teams across the globe. And a lot of the work that is done in global partnership is about how do we fine tune our models in the Indian context. So, one of the very key things is, in India, we're looking at how can the compute be efficient, right? Because we are thinking about India. So how can we compute in a more efficient manner? Once you have solutions, they can be scaled to the world. Similarly, when we look at language capability, when you think of the linguistic diversity of India, we focus on making sure that we are taking in data sets, we are contributing data sets to India. So we have a project called Vani where we work with Google DeepMind team partners with Indian Institute of Science. And then we create data sets that is part of the government's Bhashini program. And those data sets are very key because they are making sure that language data sets in languages that are not very widely used, that we keep them alive and that they are made available so that AI of the future speaks the languages of India. And the minute you have a model that can manage the unique linguistic diversity, you can scale that model to any other part of the world which has linguistic diversity.
Google has come out with its AI Futures Fund. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the work which is going on there and how you are working with startups in India?
I don't know if you're aware, Startup India completes 10 years, and so does the Google Startup Program complete a decade. And it's a moment of pride for us that we, sort of in hand in growing the ecosystem and partnering with the ecosystem. And so up till now, we look at mentoring startups and then we accelerate startups. So till date, we've accelerated something like 257 startups. They have sort of raised $4.5 billion, generated employment for thousands and, driven the Indian economy forward. And last year, when we look at our cohort of startups that we work with, we took an approach of let's look at how we can accelerate AI. So it is about bringing the best of our technology and models, but also the expertise and the mentorship. That is very critical. It is about giving them insights on UX, Android, web. How do you go to market? How do you hire? How does using AI tools in our context help the founders to iterate on their product and scale very fast? It's a very competitive world. So it is very close to our heart that as India has its ambitions to build from India to be scaled globally, we with our, where Google has access to CXOs and resources, how do we make sure we are opening those doors for these AI startups? And the AI Futures Fund is like a really unique perspective where we are partnering with Excel, and it's about making sure we are bringing the best of technology, capability, and co-investment.
So, how are you doing in terms of getting businesses on board with, especially Google's AI suite of products in Indian subcontinent?
Not everything is about efficiency as looked at from a cost perspective. It's about time to get. You in supply chain, you're talking about the timing of getting things. So AI can play a real important role in getting a much more streamlined way. So across all the key business verticals, our cloud teams work very closely with enterprises of all sizes to make sure that we are bringing the best of our technology and compute that enterprises can build on to transform their businesses. I think from a user point of view, I would say that AI is super empowering. Like I said, there was a time pre the world of digital when if you were a business, you had to be a business of a certain stature to be able to advertise on TV or in the print medium. When digital happened, it democratized advertising. Now you think about creativity and innovation. AI is helping because AI is augmenting our own skill sets, right? So AI is not about, oh, is it this job or that job? It's like, how best do I learn AI so that I'm augmenting my own outcome, not just in the areas where I'm good in, but maybe was a missing skill. So when you use natural language to be able to just give some commands and have an output, tomorrow, let's say you want to be a founder or you have a business idea, you don't need to be a coder or a tech expert. You can use AI tools and give a simple sort of natural language commands, and you could have a web enabled functional app, created. It's very empowering. Or for someone like me, I don't want to spend too much of time creating a slide deck. I can absolutely simply create those slides. Notebook LM, tools like Notebook LM enable students and researchers to upload a lot of their study material, and you get mind maps. Very powerful from a user point of view on how people can use AI as a force multiplier for their own individual self, in addition to it being a force multiplier for enterprises and then for society. That's very key.
Wonderful. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.